Today I have a guest with me, Julie Eisenhower, who has some interesting ideas to share with you about people who are handicapped. She'll be right with you.
5 years ago, I was a guest at the opening of the Trout Pond Recreation Area in Tallahassee, Florida. At first it seemed to be a typical dedication: bright sun, friendly faces, and the green of Girl Scout uniforms everywhere. It wasn't until we started on a tour that I noticed there was something different, something very special about the park. I discovered Trout Pond is a recreation area that is designed for the entire population. The sightless can participate in a nature walk by reading the braille signs placed along the paths. Those in wheelchairs can drink easily from specially constructed low fountains and move freely without the hazard of stairs because easily manageable slopes have been thoughtfully provided. Trout Pond made a deep impression on me. It opened my eyes to barriers I didn't even know existed for some of our population. A few months later at the White House, we began special tours for the handicapped. For the first time, small groups of blind visitors could touch the wooden serpents that serve as legs for a sofa in the Red Room and run their fingers over the cold bronze of Thomas Jefferson's inkwell. In our bicentennial year, efforts are being made to respond to the needs of the handicapped. Across the country, the national parks, and in Washington, the Smithsonian and other sites which will be visited by millions, are trying to provide shuttle buses, elevators with handrails, inquiry pads for the deaf, and specially created tours for the retarded. There has never been a greater need for each of us as individuals to be aware of what it means to be handicapped. Statistics from the Perinatal Research Center at Georgetown Hospital in Washington show that an astonishing 25% of all births involve some kind of handicap, either neurological, learning, or emotional. A few years ago, Governor Dan Evans of Washington State spent a day in a wheelchair. He said, "I found a 6-inch curb looked about as impossible as a 6-foot wall." Not many of us will ever experience what Governor Evans did, but until we remove more of the barriers which set the handicapped apart, we will never be true to what has become the universal rallying cry of those with disabilities, namely, focus on the person, not the handicap. Just last month, the United States officially observed the annual Employ the Handicapped Week. I believe we need as well a Handicapped Awareness Week, and that we need to start opening doors to the tremendous potential of thousands of Americans who have special needs but who also have special gifts. This is Julie Eisenhower. Thank you for listening.
Julie Eisenhower is back with me again today to share with you her ideas on reforming the welfare mess. She'll be right with you.
A funny thing happened to the federal government on its way to balancing this year's budget. It's $15 billion more unexpected dollars in the red. The $15 billion is due mostly to additional food stamp and unemployment payments. While the extra expenditures of money are disturbing, what's more disturbing is a look at who's receiving the aid. Each year, more college students and educated, skilled individuals are going on the dole because it pays to. A not untypical story is that of a young woman in New York who left her $250 a week job at public broadcasting. She's now earning $700 a week, what with unemployment compensation and the income, unreported of course, she receives as a public consultant to 3 television companies. What induces a college student whose parents may be earning $100,000 a year to sign up for food stamps alongside someone who is utterly impoverished? Perhaps one reason is the growing lack of respect for the bureaucratic tangle which enables some people to get more than they deserve and others far less than they need. I believe there's a deeper, more pervasive reason. Squeaky Fromme, the 27-year-old who pointed a gun at President Ford a few weeks ago, spoke for many young people who abuse the welfare system when she said, If you have no philosophy, you don't have any rules. If there's no good and evil, no right and wrong, the logical conclusion is to do your own thing. In other words, take the money and run. There's a golden myth that the United States has an economy with a bottomless pit, full of riches for all. Many of those who cheat the welfare system blissfully ignore a sobering statistic. Over the past 15 years, America has lagged behind all the major industrial nations in the world in the rate of increase in production. They ignore, too, the simple truth that our economy has been rich in the past and is rich today because the majority of citizens still work very hard. There's a sense of tragedy which underlies the entire subject of welfare abuse. It's not the sham of an educated young person who swells the ranks of the 21 million on food stamp rolls. It's not even the sad truth that there are jobs right now which could be immediately filled by some receiving unemployment benefits. The real tragedy is that the United States is a community of people. It's as simple as people helping people. Because when you don't work, all of us are poorer for it. This is Julie Eisenhower. Thank you for listening.